Michael was a single dad, and his world revolved around his son, Billy. Every morning was a carefully orchestrated dance of breakfast, packing lunches, and the mad dash to school. Michael always made sure Billy's hair was neatly combed and that he had a smile on his face before they left the house. He wanted Billy to feel loved and supported, especially since it was just the two of them. Their daily routine was simple but comforting. Michael would wake Billy up with a gentle tickle, make him his favorite toast with strawberry jam, and then they'd walk hand in hand to the elementary school a few blocks away. Billy loved pointing out all the interesting things they saw on their walk, from squirrels chasing each other up trees to colorful flowers blooming in the neighbors' gardens. Michael cherished these moments, knowing how quickly time flew by. He wanted to soak up every bit of Billy's childhood while he could. He often felt the weight of being a single parent, but seeing Billy's happy face made it all worthwhile. He was determined to give Billy the best life possible, filled with love, laughter, and unwavering support. As the weeks passed, Michael noticed something that tugged at his heart. Near the school playground, sitting alone on a bench, was a small girl. Every day, as he walked Billy to school, he saw her there, quietly crying. Her shoulders would shake, and she'd wipe her eyes with the sleeve of her too-big jacket. Michael felt a pang of concern for the little girl. He wondered why she was always alone and so sad. Was she being bullied? Was she having trouble at home? He couldn't help but imagine Billy in her place, and the thought made his heart ache. He tried to catch her eye, to offer a comforting smile, but she always seemed lost in her own little world of sorrow. Her sadness was a heavy cloud hanging over their usually cheerful morning walk. He wanted to help, to reach out and offer some comfort, but he didn't know how. He didn't want to intrude or make things worse. The image of her tear-streaked face stayed with him long after he dropped Billy off at school, a constant reminder of the silent pain some children carry. Michael wrestled with what to do. He wanted to approach Lily, to ask her if she was okay, but he hesitated. He imagined walking up to her, his large frame possibly intimidating her. What if he scared her even more? He didn't want to make her situation worse by overstepping. He also worried about how it would look. He was a single man approaching a young girl alone. He knew people could be quick to judge, and he didn't want to create any misunderstandings or raise any alarms. The thought of being seen as a threat made him even more cautious. He considered talking to the school principal or a teacher, but he wasn't sure if that was the right approach either. He didn't want to violate Lily's privacy or cause her embarrassment. It felt like a delicate situation, and he was afraid of making the wrong move. He continued to observe her from afar, hoping to find the right moment, the right way, to offer his help without causing further distress. The dilemma weighed heavily on his mind, a constant battle between his desire to help and his fear of making things worse. One morning, as they walked toward school, Billy tugged on Michael's hand. "Daddy," he said, his brow furrowed. "Why is that girl always crying?" He pointed towards Lily, sitting on the bench as usual, her small frame shaking with silent sobs. Michael hesitated, unsure how to explain such a complex emotion to his young son. "Well, sometimes people feel sad, Billy," he said gently. "Maybe she's having a tough day." Billy looked at Lily with wide, innocent eyes. "But she's sad every day," he said, his voice filled with concern. "Doesn't she have anyone to play with?" Billy's simple, heartfelt question struck Michael. He realized he couldn't stand by and do nothing. Billy's innocent compassion was a wake-up call. He could no longer let his fears hold him back. He needed to do something, anything, to help that little girl. Billy's words had given him the push he needed. He knew he had to find out what was wrong and see if he could make things even a tiny bit better for Lily. He decided he would take action. The next day, Michael made a plan. After dropping Billy off at school, he took the day off work, telling his boss he had a family emergency. He felt a little guilty about the lie, but he knew this was important. As the school day ended, Michael positioned himself across the street from the school, trying to blend in. He watched as the children streamed out, their laughter and chatter filling the air. He spotted Lily walking alone, her head down, her small backpack slung over her shoulder. Michael took a deep breath and started to follow her, keeping a safe distance. He didn't want to scare her, but he needed to know where she was going and what her life was like outside of school. He stayed a block behind, carefully observing her as she walked. He noticed she didn't join any of the other children, and she didn't seem to be meeting anyone. She just kept walking, her small figure moving steadily away from the school. Michael's heart ached for her as he continued to follow, determined to uncover the truth behind her daily tears. Lily continued walking, her pace steady but her shoulders slumped. Michael followed, his heart sinking with each step. They walked further and further away from the brightly colored school and the well-maintained houses, until they reached the edge of town. The houses here were smaller, older, and in obvious need of repair. Finally, Lily stopped in front of a rundown house. The paint was peeling, the porch sagged, and the yard was overgrown with weeds. It was a stark contrast to the cheerful school she attended, a world away from the safety and comfort it represented. The house looked tired and worn, much like Lily herself. Michael watched from across the street, a knot forming in his stomach. This was where she lived? This dilapidated house, so different from the other homes near the school, seemed to whisper a story of hardship and struggle. He wondered what it was like inside, what kind of life Lily led behind those faded walls. The sight of the house deepened his concern and strengthened his resolve to help her in any way he could. He felt an immense sadness for Lily, knowing that her home life was likely contributing to her daily tears. As Lily reached the porch, the front door swung open, and an older woman emerged. The woman's face was etched with worry lines, and her voice was sharp as she began to yell at Lily. Michael couldn't make out all the words, but he could hear the anger and frustration in her tone. Lily stood there, her head bowed, not saying a word as the woman continued to scold her. From Michael's vantage point, it appeared the woman was Lily's grandmother. The resemblance was subtle but noticeable, the same set to the jaw, the same dark eyes. He watched in dismay as the grandmother's tirade continued, her words seemingly lashing out at the little girl. Lily remained silent, her small frame absorbing the brunt of the woman's anger. Michael's heart clenched at the sight. He wanted to rush over and protect Lily, but he knew that would only make things worse. He had to remain an observer, at least for now, and try to understand the situation. The scene unfolding before him confirmed his fears. Lily's home life was far from the loving and supportive environment she deserved. Michael strained to hear what was being said, catching snippets of the argument carried on the breeze. He heard the grandmother say, "If your parents were here, things would be different. And we wouldn't be struggling like this if they hadn't left." The words were sharp and accusatory, directed squarely at Lily. He also overheard the grandmother complain about bills and the rising cost of food. It became clear that the family was facing serious financial difficulties, and Lily was somehow being blamed for it. The grandmother's words painted a picture of a family under immense pressure, struggling to make ends meet. Michael's heart ached for Lily. It was bad enough that she was living in poverty, but to be blamed for her family's struggles, to be held responsible for her parents' absence, was simply unbearable. He could only imagine the weight of guilt and sadness she must be carrying. The snippets of conversation confirmed his worst fears. Lily was not only lonely but also burdened with a responsibility no child should have to bear. He knew he had to do something to help alleviate her suffering. As the argument continued, Michael pieced together more of the story. The grandmother's voice, though harsh, also held a hint of desperation. She said something about Lily's parents working miles and miles away and how they couldn't afford to come home very often. The words revealed the heartbreaking truth. Lily's parents were working far away, sacrificing their time with her to earn money for the family. They weren't absent by choice but driven by necessity. The grandmother's frustration, Michael realized, stemmed from the strain of raising Lily alone and the worry for her own children working so hard far away. Understanding this added another layer of complexity to the situation. It wasn't simply a case of neglect or indifference. It was a family struggling to survive, torn apart by circumstance. Lily was caught in the middle, missing her parents and bearing the brunt of her grandmother's stress. Michael felt a surge of empathy for all of them. He knew he had to find a way to help this family, not just Lily, navigate their difficult situation. The grandmother's words clarified the reasons behind Lily's sadness and fueled Michael's commitment to find a solution. Standing across the street, Michael felt his heart break for Lily. It was all so clear now. Her daily tears weren't just random sadness. They were the product of profound loneliness and the crushing pressure she faced at home. She missed her parents terribly, and she felt responsible for the family's financial woes, a burden no child should ever have to carry. He imagined her sitting alone on that bench every morning, overwhelmed by her feelings and unsure where to turn. The school, which should have been a place of joy and learning, was likely a temporary escape from the worries that plagued her young mind. The weight of her situation settled heavily on Michael's shoulders. He knew he couldn't erase her problems with a magic wand, but he could offer her something: friendship, support, and a reminder that she wasn't alone. He realized that even small acts of kindness could make a world of difference in her life. He pictured Billy playing with her, bringing a smile to her face, and the thought spurred him into action. He resolved to find a way to reach out to Lily, to show her that someone cared, and to help her find a little bit of happiness amidst her struggles. Back at home, Michael wrestled with what to do next. He considered calling social services.
Sur Lily's situation warrantait d'intervention.
But the thought of involving them also filled him with apprehension. What if Lily was taken away from her grandmother? What if the system made things even worse for her? He had heard stories of children being placed in foster care, separated from their families, and subjected to even more trauma. He couldn't bear the thought of potentially causing Lily more harm than good. He also worried about the grandmother. Despite her harsh words, she was clearly doing her best in a difficult situation. Was reporting her the right thing to do? Michael felt trapped between his desire to protect Lily and his fear of the unintended consequences of his actions. He knew he needed to tread carefully. He decided to explore other options first, less drastic measures that might provide Lily with the support she needed without disrupting her family life. He would start small, offering kindness and support, and then reassess the situation as he learned more. He needed to be certain that any action he took would truly benefit Lily in the long run. The next morning, Michael put his plan into action. He stopped at the store before picking up Billy and bought a colorful drawing book filled with blank pages and a box of bright, new crayons. He carefully wrapped the gift in cheerful paper, hoping it would bring a little bit of joy to Lily's day. As they approached the school, Michael felt a flutter of nerves. He wasn't sure how Lily would react. He spotted her sitting on the bench, her usual spot, looking as forlorn as ever. Taking a deep breath, he walked towards her, Billy by his side. "Good morning," Michael said gently, approaching her slowly. "My name is Michael, and this is my son, Billy." He knelt down to her level, offering the wrapped gift. "We noticed you sitting here, and we wanted to give you something." He hoped his smile was reassuring and that Lily wouldn't be scared. He watched her closely, waiting for her reaction, praying that this small gesture of kindness would be a step in the right direction. He wanted to show her that someone saw her, that someone cared, and that even in the midst of her struggles, there was still room for a little bit of happiness. Lily looked up at Michael and Billy, her eyes wide with surprise. She hesitated, her small hand hovering over the wrapped gift. She seemed unsure whether to accept it, her gaze darting between Michael's face and the brightly colored paper. There was a flicker of suspicion in her eyes, a wariness that spoke volumes about her past experiences. Michael remained calm and gentle, his voice soft and reassuring. He didn't want to pressure her or make her feel uncomfortable. He simply held out the gift, offering it without expectation. Then, Billy stepped forward and gave Lily a big, friendly wave. His innocent smile seemed to break through her apprehension. Lily's expression softened slightly. The combination of Michael's gentle demeanor and Billy's genuine friendliness seemed to put her at ease. She slowly reached out and took the gift, her fingers brushing against Michael's. It was a small gesture, but it felt like a significant breakthrough. Michael hoped that this was the beginning of a beautiful friendship. Lily clutched the wrapped gift tightly in her hands, her gaze still fixed on Michael. Then, almost imperceptibly, the corners of her mouth turned upward. It was a small smile, watery and fleeting, but it was there. It was the first time Michael had seen her smile, and it sent a jolt of hope through him. The smile didn't quite reach her eyes, which still held a trace of sadness, but it was a start. It was a sign that perhaps, just perhaps, he could make a difference in her life. It was a glimpse of the happy child that was buried beneath layers of loneliness and worry. "Thank you," she whispered, her voice barely audible. Michael smiled back, his heart swelling with warmth. "You're welcome, Lily," he said. "We hope you enjoy it." As he and Billy walked towards the school entrance, Michael couldn't help but feel a sense of accomplishment. It was a small victory, but it was a victory nonetheless. He had broken through her initial apprehension and offered her a moment of happiness. He felt a renewed sense of purpose, a determination to continue reaching out to Lily and helping her find her way back to the joyful child she deserved to be. The glimmer of hope he felt was enough to fuel his resolve. Over the next few weeks, Michael made a conscious effort to include Lily in their lives in small, meaningful ways. He made sure to say hello to her every morning, offering a warm smile and a friendly wave. Sometimes he'd bring extra snacks and share them with her at the park after school, if he saw her there. He always made sure to ask her how her day was, listening attentively to her responses, no matter how brief. These small acts of kindness, though seemingly insignificant, began to chip away at Lily's sadness. She started to look forward to seeing Michael and Billy, her face lighting up slightly when they approached. She even started initiating conversations, asking Billy about his favorite games or sharing a drawing she had made. Michael noticed that she wasn't crying as often anymore. The dark cloud that had seemed to perpetually hang over her was starting to dissipate. He realized that sometimes, all it takes is a little bit of attention and care to make a world of difference in someone's life. His simple acts of kindness were slowly but surely helping Lily to heal and rediscover her joy. He felt grateful to be a part of her journey. As the weeks turned into months, a beautiful friendship blossomed between Billy and Lily. What started as a simple act of kindness evolved into a genuine connection. They began playing together after school, building forts in the park, drawing pictures with the crayons Michael had given Lily, and sharing secrets whispered in hushed tones. Billy's infectious enthusiasm and Lily's gentle nature complemented each other perfectly. They found solace in each other's company, offering a level of comfort and understanding that only children can provide. When Lily felt sad or overwhelmed, Billy would offer her a hug or tell her a silly joke to make her laugh. And when Billy scraped his knee or felt discouraged about a school project, Lily would listen patiently and offer words of encouragement. Michael watched their friendship blossom with immense joy. He knew that Billy was providing Lily with the support and companionship she so desperately needed, and Lily, in turn, was teaching Billy the importance of kindness and empathy. Their bond was a testament to the power of friendship and a reminder that even in the face of adversity, joy and connection can always be found. As Michael continued to build a relationship with Lily, he also started to learn more about her grandmother. Through casual conversations with other parents and neighbors, he discovered that the grandmother, whose name was Martha, was indeed struggling to make ends meet. Lily's parents sent what they could, but it wasn't always enough to cover the bills and put food on the table. Martha was overwhelmed by the responsibility of raising Lily alone, especially with her own health declining. She worried constantly about money, about Lily's future, and about her own ability to keep things together. Her harsh words to Lily, Michael realized, were not born out of malice but out of sheer desperation and exhaustion. He learned that Martha had always been a proud woman, reluctant to ask for help. She felt ashamed of their situation and didn't want to burden anyone with their problems. This explained why she hadn't sought assistance from local charities or support groups. Michael understood that helping Martha would be just as important as helping Lily. He knew that if he could alleviate some of her stress and provide her with the resources she needed, it would create a more stable and loving environment for Lily to thrive in. Michael, being a proactive person, decided to leverage his connections to help Martha. He spoke with friends, colleagues, and members of his community, inquiring about local resources and support groups for struggling families. He learned about food banks, after-school programs, and organizations that provided financial assistance for utility bills and rent. He also discovered a support group specifically designed for grandparents raising grandchildren. He carefully compiled a list of these resources, making sure to include contact information and details about eligibility requirements. He knew it would be difficult for Martha to navigate these systems on her own, so he offered to help her with the application process. He approached Martha with sensitivity and respect, explaining that he simply wanted to offer some assistance and that he understood she might be hesitant to accept it. He assured her that he wasn't judging her and that he admired her strength and resilience. He presented her with the list of resources, emphasizing that these organizations were there to help families like hers and that there was no shame in seeking their support. He hoped that this information would empower Martha to take control of her situation and create a better future for herself and Lily. With Michael's help, Martha cautiously began to access the resources he had provided. She applied for food stamps, which significantly eased her grocery bill. She also started attending the support group for grandparents, where she found a community of people who understood her struggles and offered valuable advice and emotional support. Slowly but surely, Martha began to feel less stressed and overwhelmed. The financial burden lifted slightly, and she felt less isolated knowing that she wasn't alone in her challenges. As a result, she became more patient and understanding with Lily. She started spending more quality time with her, reading her stories, playing games, and simply listening to her talk about her day. The harsh words and angry outbursts became less frequent, replaced by moments of tenderness and affection. Martha started to see Lily not as a burden but as a source of joy and companionship. She realized that Lily needed her love and support, and she was determined to provide it to the best of her ability. The change in Martha's demeanor had a profound impact on Lily, who began to blossom under her grandmother's newfound patience and care. The transformation in Lily was remarkable. The little girl who once sat alone on the bench, her shoulders shaking with silent sobs, was now almost unrecognizable. She started to smile more often, her laughter ringing out freely as she played with Billy. The daily tears that had plagued her for so long disappeared completely. She seemed happier, more confident, and more engaged with the world around her. She participated more actively in class, raised her hand to answer questions, and made new friends. Her grades improved, and her teachers noticed a significant boost in her self-esteem. Michael watched her progress with immense pride and joy. He realized that his small acts of kindness, combined with the support he had provided to Martha, had created a ripple effect, transforming Lily's life in profound ways. He felt grateful to have played a part in her journey and to have witnessed her blossom into the bright, happy, and confident child she was always meant to be. The once constant sadness had been replaced by a genuine joy that radiated from within. One sunny afternoon, as Michael and Billy were walking Lily home from school, Lily suddenly stopped, her eyes shining with excitement. "I got a letter," she exclaimed, her voice filled with joy. She held up a brightly colored envelope, her hands trembling slightly. "It's from my parents," she announced, her smile radiant. "They said they're coming to visit soon." She jumped up and down, unable to contain her excitement. Michael and Billy shared in her joy, their faces beaming with happiness. "That's wonderful, Lily," Michael said, genuinely thrilled for her. He knew how much she missed her parents and how long she had waited for this moment. Lily couldn't stop talking about the letter, sharing every detail with Michael and Billy. She described how her parents had written about all the fun things they would do together when they arrived. She was already planning their visit in her mind, her imagination running wild with possibilities. The news of her parents' upcoming visit was the perfect culmination of all the positive changes that had taken place in her life. She finally had something to look forward to, something that would fill her heart with joy and anticipation. Watching Lily's infectious joy, Michael felt a profound sense of gratitude. He thought back to the day he first saw her crying on the bench, the day he decided he couldn't stand by and do nothing. He realized that even the smallest acts of kindness could make a huge difference in someone's life. A simple hello, a shared snack, a listening ear, these seemingly insignificant gestures had contributed to a remarkable transformation in Lily. He had also learned the importance of addressing the root causes of her sadness, providing support not just to Lily but also to her grandmother, Martha. He understood that true kindness wasn't just about offering a quick fix but about investing in someone's well-being and helping them build a better future. He knew that this experience had changed him as well. It had opened his eyes to the struggles that many people face and had inspired him to be more compassionate and proactive in his community. He resolved to continue looking for opportunities to make a positive impact, knowing that even the smallest act of kindness could have a ripple effect, transforming lives in ways he couldn't even imagine. The experience with Lily reinforced his belief in the power of human connection and the importance of reaching out to those in need. The day finally arrived when Lily's parents came to visit. Michael made sure that he and Billy were at the park across from Lily's house. He wanted to be there to witness her joy, but he also wanted to give them space and privacy. He watched from a distance as a car pulled up in front of the rundown house. Lily ran out, her face alight with happiness, and launched herself into the arms of her parents. There were hugs and tears and laughter, a reunion filled with so much love and emotion that it brought tears to Michael's eyes. He saw them all go inside, and he knew that Lily was finally surrounded by the people she loved most. He felt a deep sense of fulfillment, knowing that he had played a small part in making this moment possible. He didn't need to be a part of their celebration. Simply witnessing their happiness was enough. He knew that Lily was finally on the path to a brighter future, filled with love, support, and the joy of being reunited with her family. He smiled, knowing that his initial act of kindness had blossomed into something truly beautiful. The story doesn't end with just a visit. Lily's parents, seeing how much Michael and Billy had done for their daughter and Martha, were deeply grateful. They made sure to keep in touch, and soon, a strong bond formed between the two families. Michael, Billy, Lily, her parents, and Martha became an unlikely but loving support system for one another. They shared meals, celebrated holidays, and helped each other through life's challenges. They learned from each other's experiences and offered each other unwavering support and encouragement. Lily's parents found work closer to home, allowing them to be more present in her life. Martha continued to attend her support group, finding strength and solace in her newfound community. Billy and Lily remained best friends, their bond strengthened by the shared experience of overcoming adversity. And Michael, the single dad who had simply wanted to help a little girl stop crying, found himself surrounded by a loving and supportive extended family. He realized that kindness, like a pebble dropped in a pond, could create ripples of love and connection that spread far beyond what he could have ever imagined. He learned that helping others not only made their lives better but also enriched his own in ways he never thought possible. The end.